Hey everybody, welcome back to the Her Sacred Place channel. In this week's video, we're going to be talking about your period flow and what that means. So last week we talked about what the different colors of your period may mean, whether it's brown, purple, red, pink, orange, whatever is going on with that. This week, we're going to talk about how your period flows, whether that is heavy, whether that is light, whether it starts and it stops, it pauses, it goes off for a day, come back on for a day, and all things related to that. So if you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe to this video. Hit the thumbs up to give me a like, and hit the red subscribe and the notification bell so you'll be notified each and every time I upload a new video. And remember, we always upload videos every Monday at 7 o'clock, so make sure to come back every week and see what we're talking about pertaining to your sacred place that particular week. But now that you've done that, let's go ahead and dive right in. So we will get into talking about your period flow. First, I want to start off by letting everybody know what is considered a healthy flow. A healthy period flow is when you can go up to 4 hours without having to change your menstrual pad or tampon. Even though we don't recommend tampon use for your sacred place during your sacred time of the month, I will still refer to it because I know a lot of women still use tampons. But when it comes to flow, a nice healthy flow should be even at your most intense part or your heaviest part of your period, you can still go up to 4 hours without having to change. Now, I know when it comes to some women, it is preference, and some women say, well, look, Quinta, I just change mine every hour or every 2 hours, whether I need to or not. But what I'm referring to in this section is women who basically have to change it. Like every 30 minutes, they have to change into a new period, or a new pad or tampon or whatever their menstrual product is, because they're just bleeding so heavy. So when I say that, vaginal steaming, especially when we put women on our treatment plans at Her Sacred Place, vaginal steaming greatly reduces any type of heavy period flow. And so if you are in the South Carolina area and you would like to consult with me about coming in for your period problems, the link is in the description box to book a consultation with me, and we can definitely do that, okay? Moving on from that, your period should start on light. Day one, it should be pretty light, and then by going into day 2 and day 3, it should be a nice medium to heavy flow, and then day 4, it starts going off light again, and by day 5, it's simply spotting. So with that being said, notice I did not go over 5 days of a period, because a nice healthy period typically should last 4 to 5 days. So all of my women who have those long periods that are 7 days, 10 days, 20 days, they also work with us with vaginal steaming to help get us to a nice menstrual cycle. And we do typically tend to get these women down to a more healthier cycle so that they can embrace their sacred place more. Because I know that long periods usually put a lot of a stress on the body for our particular women. But with that being said, now that we know what a heavy period should look like and what a heavy flow should look like, we're going to talk about 10 different reasons or 10 different types of menstrual flows that most women suffer from, and what each of those menstrual flows mean, okay? The first type of period flow we're going to talk about is the most common one, and that is heavy bleeding. Yes, that's the most common. I've already told you what bleeding should look like, whereas you could go up to 4 hours without having to change your period product. But there are some women who come in and say, look, Quinta, I have to change my pad every 30 minutes or every hour, or I have to wear a tampon and a pad, or whatever is going on. I do want to start out by saying, before we get into these types of period flows, that this video is specific specific to women who don't have any uterine imbalances already. So with that being said, I mean women who don't already suffer from PCOS, just cysts in general, or fibroids, endometriosis. Typically, those type of things can impact your period flow. And so this is specific to women who don't have any imbalance or maybe unaware of any imbalances that they have. And so they're just trying to figure out what's going on with them. So getting back into number one with the heavy bleeding can be caused by two different things. The first thing is stagnation. When we talk about stagnation, we mean poor blood circulation or anything like that. The blood is just flowing very slowly, which is giving it time to congeal, time to get clots and things like that. When it comes to that, and we talked about this in last week's video that I'm going to post right here, but we talked about that when we talked about brown, black, and purple periods, that comes from stagnation. Well, also that's also related to your period flow. When it comes to this particular type of period flow, these stagnation can be a concern because the blood is flowing very slowly and getting time to darken, as in period color, but it's also getting time to congeal and form clots and things like that. With that being said, whenever there's stuff that gets stuck on the uterine wall, our body naturally does what it is supposed to do and want to help get that off. So our body or our brain signals the arteries to push more blood, like help whatever is there get off, help it come off. That's why typically women with fibroids tend to have very heavy periods. Also, because of this same reason, the brain is signaling, let's just send more blood to help push this off or anything, because the blood is just flowing so slowly. And so that causes a lot of blood to be coming out during the period. But once you begin vaginal steaming, you'll notice that you don't have those problems anymore, because the blood stagnation clears up very quickly once you begin vaginal steaming, and your blood won't have time to congeal or form boluses or anything like that. So that's one thing that is contributed to heavy bleeding. The other thing can simply be uterine fatigue, like your uterus basically during your menstrual cycle, the entire 28 days of your menstrual cycle. Remember, your period is day one. So during this point in time, your arteries are closed. Your arteries are simply closed. And then as it becomes time, your cervix is closed and your arteries are closed. So as it becomes time for your period to happen, the arteries open up to send blood through the uterus, and your cervix is open so that the blood can flow out through the vaginal canal in the form of what we call our period. Well, sometimes with uterine fatigue, the arteries don't close and open, or when it's time for them to open to let the blood flow out, they're like this. They open, they're not just open enough for a little blood flow, they're just wide open. And when that happens, blood just is gushing out. Now, uterine fatigue is a very, very complicated thing to explain, but if you definitely want me to go into detail about it, leave a comment below and I will put together a video on it. But basically, your uterus is just going through so much, or you may be stressed a lot, and it's just like, you know what, I can't control how open or how closed I am. I'm just gonna just lay there wide open, and it causes too much blood to come out. So those are two things contributed to heavy bleeding that are not associated with womb imbalances such as endometriosis, fibroids, and things like that. So that's number one when we talk about heavy bleeding. But as I always tell clients, the one thing that vaginal steaming will definitely help with is your period problems, and heavy period flow is one of them. So I urge you women who deal with heavy period problems, who may have gone to the gynecologist, and they say, oh, well, we'll just put you on birth control, or, well, let's try an ablation, or before you take any of those extreme extreme routes of artificial hormones, or you take any of those extreme routes of any type of surgical or medical procedures, if you are open to it, just simply try vaginal steaming and you'll notice that your periods will get a lot more healthier. Following along with heavy bleeding, I alluded to this a little bit just now, but number two is clots. So most people, when it comes to their period flow, it may be really, really clotty. And this is what I already alluded to, a great form of stagnation. We talked about this a little bit in last week's video also, but basically the blood is flowing so slow because there's poor blood circulation that your blood is getting time to congeal, time to form clots. Vaginal steaming definitely helps with that. So once you begin steaming, you won't have to worry about clotty periods or passing major clots anymore, or that dark brown blood or dark black blood, because typically whenever my clients see a lot of clots and they don't have those uterine imbalances that we already talked about, they usually see a lot of dark colored blood also. So that is a type of stagnation where your blood is just not flowing properly. It's just not flowing a nice healthy flow. It's just more of a slower flow, and it's giving time for the blood to clot. The third type of period flow that we're going to talk about is where it's not even really a full period flow, where it's actually period blood. Instead of, it's like dry blood chips. And some women report this is like, my period blood are just like chips, like it's not really like a actual liquidy, slimy blood looking substance. It's more like it's dry. And typically they don't have really heavy periods. They don't, it's really light, and it just looks like blood chips per se. That's the best way that I can describe it. But when we're talking about this in particular, this means that these particular women suffer from extreme dryness or dehydration in their body. When it comes to that, I always urge women, you are experiencing from a lot of dryness. This may be due to changing hormones. If you are hitting your menopausal phase, or you're in your perimenopause stage, but whenever the period starts looking like dry, chippy flakes, that indicates a lot of dryness in the body, and we need to get as hydrated as much as we can. Or if women who have kidney problems tend to maybe deal with these type of issues, and should seek out a medical professional or acupuncturist or something to help with that, because basically it is just from a lot of dehydration or dryness in the body, and so the blood isn't really blood looking, it's more dry looking, if that makes sense to you. Now, if that doesn't make sense to you, again, leave a comment down below and let me know what if I need to go into more detail about that. The next one is number 4, and here we're going to talk about a hesitant start with brown blood. So when I say that, I mean, sometimes we'll say, oh, my period is coming on, and it's just it's just trickling some brown blood, and it may have an odor to it, and then hours pass or nothing happens, and it doesn't come on really until the next day in this instance. Or it started off that morning with the brown blood, and it may have a small malodor, but hours later, or a day later, it comes on. That means we call that a hesitant start, because at the first start of seeing blood flow in your period, blood flow from your period, you should continue to see blood flow immediately. So that's what we call a hesitant start, and that is caused, well, we already know when we talked about the last video that is blood from a previous cycle, because it's brown. So that's old blood. That's not some new fresh blood that is coming out right now. But that could be blood that is coming out first because it wasn't entirely cleared out from the last period. So when the cervix open up for your menses for this month, now that blood is the first blood to come out because it wasn't already cleared out, but it's been sitting in there for a month now. So now it has turned a little brown. So typically that's all that is when you have that hesitant start. Your cervix just opened up to prepare for your period. well, when you have that hesitant start with brown blood, your cervix just opened up to prepare for your period, and the brown blood or some blood that may have not gotten released during your last cycle was still in there, and now it has gotten a little old and turned a little brown, but now it could come out because the cervix has opened to allow for that blood to come out. So that's usually what happens with a hesitant start of brown blood. It's just your cervix is now open because your period is about to start. All of the things are going on in our body. The signal, this is signaling your arteries to open. This is signaling your cervix to open. This is signaling the endometrium to start slouching off. Everything, there are a lot of hormones in our body and our brain and our glands that are telling our body to prepare for period. And now that this specific thing has says cervix open, the brown blood has time to is able to come out, and usually that's just from a previous cycle. With that, moving on to number 5. Now we're going to talk about a hesitant stop at the end. We just talking about a hesitant start with brown blood. Now we're going to talk about where it kind of hesitantly stopped with brown blood. Whereas you had no period for a couple of hours, then you go and check and there's a little bit of brown blood in your underwear, where not fresh blood, but then you don't see anything else for a whole lot of hours. So basically, at the end of your period, it kind of just hesitantly stopped with brown blood. This is blood from this period, more likely. If it's brown blood at the end, it's just been sitting in the uterus a while. If you're on day 5, maybe it's from day 1 or day 2. And this is a minor form of stagnation because the blood is still coming out and we're getting healthy blood flow. Hopefully you are getting healthy blood flow because you're seeing red blood through your period. But this is a early sign of minor stagnation. So if you're dealing with that right now, or you have a daughter or a niece or anyone you talk to who is dealing with that right now, you could over time, over the next few years, over the next 5 years, 10 years, you could graduate from this one little minor stagnation to a couple years later. It may start off like this, but a couple years later, you may notice that now I have brown blood at the beginning and end. Now my period is brown blood all throughout and I'm not seeing red anymore. Now my period is like going from brown till it's more of a black purplish color. You may see your change in stagnation increase over time. So I urge women who have this hesitant brown at the end of their cycle to make sure you come in and steam with us once a month, because we help keep that stagnation at a bay. Also, I want to go off a little bit and talk about this, but women who deal with minor stagnation in the beginning and it progresses till it becomes to a more major or severe form of stagnation, typically it's not uncommon to be associated with 20 years down the road those women having fibroid issues. So I want to say that to say, talk to your young daughters or your young girls, your nieces, anyone. Talk to the young girls or just send them this video. Share this video on your page, or share this video with them in general, to tell them, like, if you're seeing this now in your teenage years, we don't want you to have problems that can be prevented now in your teenage years 20 years from now. So in your 30s, we are dealing with uterine fibroids and things. It's important for us to pay attention to our peers and know what's going on with us and know what's healthy and what's not healthy, so we can prevent these adverse health outcomes years down the road. And so I wanted to stop and go off on a minute to say that about a hesitant stop with brown blood, because early form of what is to come. And so if you got that brown blood at the end, make sure you are steaming so that we don't have to deal with those problems later on down the road, okay? Moving on to number 6, we're going to talk about hesitant fresh spotting. So this is when you see that oh, my period is trying to come on, then I don't see nothing for hours, but it's red or it's pink blood. So it's fresh blood. It's not brown like we just discussed. It's fresh blood. It's just not, when it comes on, it's not immediately starting to flow. It may come on and you may not see a flow for hours or an entire day. And then it looks like your period start. So basically, this is a sign of uterine fatigue. I always urge these women to say at what day in your menstrual cycle did that hesitant period start. So with that being said, let's just say your period, a healthy period is supposed to be every 28 to 30 days. So let's just say your period is supposed to be coming on in 2 days, and that's day 28. But today is day 26, and you're seeing a little trickle of pink blood. Some women say, oh, that doesn't mean anything because my period is coming on in a couple of days, or that happens to me every month, so I'm not worried about that. My period is coming on soon. That's actually a sign of uterine fatigue. And again, if you want me to go into a lot more about this, definitely leave a comment below and I'll talk about it. But that's an early sign of your uterus is just like tired, and it's like, I'm trying to hold out until 28 to 30 days, like, oh, 2 more days, oh God, it's day 26, I can't. Just open, just let the period come. I just can't hold out anymore. And so blood starts flowing early. So that's when we get those early periods, less than 28 days, or we get the early, the hesitant fresh spotting, where she's just like, just open a little bit. I can't hold out anymore. And so it just spots, but it's not a real blood flow. But it's like leakage. It's like blood leakage more than a blood flow. And that's what that pertains to. But if you feel like you're one of those people, let me know in the comments below. And if you want to talk more about this specific thing, again, consultation, you can book a consultation with me from the description section. To number 7, we're talking about fresh spotting late in the menstrual cycle. So we just talked about fresh spotting earlier than 28 days. Now we're going to say, let's say periods come on every 28 to 30 days. Now we're going to assume your spotting isn't coming on until day 35 or whatever, or day 40 or day 45. Usually long menstrual cycles where your period are coming on exceeding 30, in most Western medicine here in America, they will take it up to 32 to 35 days. So for the sake of this, I'm just going to say, let's just say anything over 32 days for the sake of American culture. That means that that could be an early sign of a blood deficiency. So basically, the body, or a nutrient deficiency, the body is trying to make blood and trying to do what it needs to do so that you can release some, because of course you're going to be bleeding for the next 4 to 5 days. So if your body is not going to give you a period and say, well, we don't have this blood to lose, but let's give her a period anyway. If you don't have the blood to lose, if you have low iron, if you are anemic, if you have a nutrient deficiency, if you have some type of blood deficiency, typically your menstrual cycle, the entire menstrual cycle, can exceed beyond 30 days. And so I always tell women who deal with this in particular, if you have these long cycles now, let's just say starting off with 32. Again, going back to what we talked before, years from now, it may be 35 days. It go up to 40 days. You're starting to see a period every couple months and things like that. This is an early sign of something may be going on now. And we can catch that now while our period is trying to tell us this is going on. This is going on in your body. If we catch that early enough, because our period is trying to show us what's going on, then we know how to deal with it in the future. So if you want to talk more about this, definitely give me a call. But fresh spotting or getting your period, getting spotted late in the menstrual cycle rather than early in the menstrual cycle, I wouldn't say early in the menstrual cycle. I would say at a healthy point in time in the menstrual cycle. So if we're going past those 32 days, we're up to only getting a period every 45 days. Just get checked for a blood deficiency. Just see if you have anemia, or if you already know you're anemic, you know what the cause of this is, and anything like that. But that is number 7, and if you want to talk more about that, leave a comment below. All right, ladies, 3 more to go. We have 7 down, 3 more to go. So the number 8 is spotting after the period. So your period has been going off for a day or two, and then it comes back on. So it's like, you were gone already for 2 days. Why is spotting happening again? Again, I must reiterate, this is for women who don't have any uterine or womb imbalances, such as fibroids or endometriosis, because we know the causes that can cause this to happen. But if you don't have those issues, get checked to make sure you don't have those issues. If you're starting to see spotting outside of your period, make sure you get checked for fibroids. Make sure you get checked for cysts. Make sure you get checked for endometriosis, because spotting or blood flow outside of the period is indicative of those things. And also, if you're already post-menopause, and you haven't seen a period in 12 entire months or 1 year, and now, or a couple years, and you're starting to see vaginal spotting or vaginal bleeding or anything like that, that could be an early sign of cervical cancer or some other types of cancers down in our most sacred place. So make sure that you also get checked if you see unusual spotting and you're already in your postmenopausal phase. But back to spotting after the period has gone off, which basically refers to a period flow outside of your period, that can be a sign of some type of uterine imbalance going on. So I urge clients to definitely go get checked and see if they have any problem or anything like that. Another cause could be uterine fatigue, like we already talked about before. The arteries are saying, the uterus is saying, stay closed, arteries, stay closed, stay closed. And it's just like, oh, I'm tired. I can't hold it closed anymore. So it starts opening, and when the arteries start opening, blood comes out, and it shouldn't be coming out because it's outside of the period. So we could talk more about that if you need to. Number 9. Now we're going to start talking about if you have spotting for your blood flow is spotting the entire time, but it's never really an entire blood flow. It's just light pink blood spotting. Some women say, oh, I don't even really have to have I don't even really have to wear a panty liner. Wear a whole pad. I can just put on a panty liner during my entire period. When it comes to that, but it's never fresh bleeding, there are quite a few things. So I really have to talk to my clients and see what's going on with them, or what their lifestyle looks like when it comes to this. Because if they are a serial person who likes to work out, they do a lot of working out, that has been associated with a really, really light blood flow. And so these women typically don't see a full-blown period. They have a really, really light blood flow. What I've also found out is that our diet relates to how our period looks. So I say that to say, my women who are just eat the traditional American diet, let's just say you eat everything. You eat all type of meats, you eat all type of vegetables, you eat all type of grains. You just eat the traditional American diet, anything that's out there, a lot of processed foods and everything. They typically have the 8-day periods that are heavy, that are clotty, and that are very painful. Then as I go to my women who maybe don't eat certain type of meats, but they definitely don't eat red meat at all. They kind of watch it. For the most part, they're a healthy eater, but they may eat unhealthy sometimes. These women typically have a 4 to 5 day period. However, their periods are maybe a little painful, maybe a little crampy, but nothing excessive, not heavy bleeding at all. and things like that. It's typically a healthy period for these type of women who kind of stay away from the processed foods, don't eat red meats. They may indulge a little bit, but for the most part, they're a healthy eater. These women tend to have that going on. Then as I go on to my vegetarians, these women basically have 3 day periods, 3 to 4 day periods. It doesn't typically go up to 5, but they have 3 to 4 day periods. Nice healthy blood flow, little to no pain. But very, very, what's shocking about me is that these women typically don't have stagnation. Vegetarians typically don't get stagnation. Their blood is bright red and everything like that. Not Don't get uterine imbalances and things like that. Then as we move on to, let's just say, our vegans, and I do have a client who was a fruitarian, but our vegans and our fruitarians, they get to what we're talking about right now, where it's just basically spotting or a light blood, a very, very light period for the entire 3 to 4 days. Typically, they don't go up to 5 days either, but for 3 to 4 days every month, they just have a light little spotting or light. They could wear a panty liner, blood flow, and that's all they have. So I say that to say, when we're talking about someone who never has an entire blood flow, I look at their diet. I look at whether they work out or they're more sedentary at work. I also ask them, how is their stress levels and things like that, because there's a lot that can be contributing to this. So if you need to set up a consultation with me about that, just leave a comment in the leave a comment in the leave a comment down below, or check the description box to set up a consultation with me, and we can see pinpoint exactly what's going on with you. However, this can also be an early sign of blood deficiency if a lot of those other things I just didn't mention are going on. Just like I was telling you guys with the period trying to come on, with the hesitant start, but it doesn't really start. With that happening, a sign of just spotting only, and you don't have other factors that could be contributing to it. It could be like an early sign of anemia, or other early sign of some type of nutrient deficiency, such as iron or something like that, because there's just not enough blood. Your body, again, is it going to say, okay, let's get rid of blood for 4 days, when we don't have enough to begin with? So with that being said, it can be a combination of things, but that is a type of period flow where it's just a really, really light flow of spotting. And from there, we don't know what is best. But last but not least, talk about we're going to a hesitant start and a hesitant stop. So this is number 10, and this is interesting because I typically have to have long conversations with these women, because it can be a combination of quite a few things. But I'm just going to go into detail about one of them or two of them now. And if this pertains to you, definitely let me know in the comment section. But these women typically have long periods. It can be upwards of 10 to 15 days, because it seems like it want to come on for 2 to 3 days, but it doesn't. It's just like a spotting, like, okay, it's blood, it's not blood, it's blood, it's not blood. And then it's like, oh, you're here. And they bleed for those 4 to 5 days that we talk about. And then when it's time to go off, it's like, it's going off, but it's not going off. I thought you went off yesterday, but you're back again today. I thought you went off 2 days ago, but you're bleeding again. So basically, they have these hesitant starts at the beginning, an entire period, and then a hesitant start at the end for a couple days. So they usually have these very, very long periods. And this can be a combination of a couple things, but to just break it down, that when it's not something related to other type of imbalancing, the two that I'm going to talk about here include either a blood deficiency, if they see a lot of hesitant starting, like we just talked about, and then when their period actually comes, it's just more of pink blood, and then it keeps spotting while it's going off. that can be an early sign of anemia or an early sign of some type of blood deficiency that's going on, that I do urge my clients to get checked by a medical professional. Or if it's a hesitant start, but it comes on brown, and then their period is red or a very, very dark color, and then it's hesitantly ending with brown again, then that can be an indication of stagnation, which we just went into a lot of detail about. And so those are two different reasons for that. Anything outside of that, if you want to chat more, just feel free to. It's a little bit hard to explain in this video, but I would definitely love to do a one-on-one consultation with you ladies if any of you deal with that. And again, the link to the consultation is in the description box below. With that being said, those are the 10 different menstrual flows that women have when it comes. It can start off light, end up brown. It can act like it want to come on, don't really come on. It can be an entirely heavy flow the entire time. It can be an entirely light flow the entire time. But anything that's going on is usually contributed from something. If it's not a healthy flow, which we talked about at the beginning of the video. So I want to know how your period is. Let me know if any of these things that I've listed below pertain to you, if this is the type of period flow that you have. Or let me know if there is one that I missed or two that I missed and your period works in this particular way and I didn't mention it in the video, because I would love to hear that. So again, be on the lookout for next week's video, and make sure to like and subscribe to this channel if you like this content and you like learning about what your period flow means for your health. And I'll see you again next week. Bye.